if you're an entrepreneur. Lessons that I've learned over the last 6 months, especially with the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show. But what about when you don't feel motivated, where you're getting stuck, where you need to improve? So the Carnivore Entrepreneur started to take shape. This is what I mean about structure beating motivation. A lesson around recording content and how to resonate with people.
Welcome to the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show, where health unlocks true wealth. It's time to reclaim your strength, ignite your energy, and live life with purpose. Master your body, sharpen your mind, and dominate your path. Live life how it's supposed to be lived, on your terms. Let's go.
Starting something meaningful takes time. I've learned so much over the last 6 months since I've been doing the Carnivore Entrepreneur and this show. So the Carnivore Entrepreneur started to take shape back in October 2024. And the lessons that I've learned over that time have been really interesting. It took me a good 3 or 4 months to even get a concept together for the Carnivore Entrepreneur and what core principles would be, what I'm trying to achieve, and all the rest of it. But it really started coming together about 6 months ago. And this is to really mark those lessons. So I'm going to give you today my 6 lessons in the last 6 months. Now, real challenges and real growth, especially if you're an entrepreneur, maybe an entrepreneur that is stuck in your health, stuck in what you're trying to achieve. Maybe your business has plateaued a little bit. But the real growth starts from when you take control of you and you do something with yourself on all 3 levels, whether that be your body, your mind, or your bank account. And I'm really hoping that some of the lessons that I've learned over the last 6 months can help you as well, maybe break through where you're getting stuck, where you need to improve. And it can be something simple, but it could be a total overhaul. And neither one is, I'm saying is the right thing to do, because you have to do what's right for you at the end of the day. Let's get into the lessons that I've learned over the last 6 months. I've got them all written down here. So I'm going to refer to them, but I'm going to try and tell you some of the stories and the experiences that I've been through over the last 6 months that have really solidified these lessons if I didn't already know them previously. So lesson number 1, structure beats motivation. Think about that. Structure beats motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Like, it's great when you've got it and you feel motivated and you crack on. But what about when you don't feel motivated? That takes a little bit of pushing through. Some people call it discipline, but actually to be disciplined, you have to have a plan and a structure to things. So let me give you an example. So with regards to my morning routine, so like I get up every single day and I'll always do some cold exposure, or I'll write in my journal. That happens without fail. Take my vitamins, all that sort of stuff. Now, a lot of the time you might feel motivated to do that, but there may be some times where you don't. You want to stay in bed and you don't want to do too much. It's not a bad thing on occasion to do stuff like that. However, a structure that I've built in is I have a reminder in my diary that goes off at a certain time every day and reminds me of the things that I have promised to myself that I would do. And that reminder really helps me stay on track. The other thing that I do with structure, and I've been doing this over the last 6 months as well, especially with the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show, is to stay consistent with recording episodes and content each week, is I actually plan out 12 weeks in advance what the episodes are going to be, and also when I'm going to do them. So this is what I mean about structure beating motivation, because when I had the motivation to plan it all out and excited about what the subjects were going to be, I planned it all, made sure that the next 12 weeks were absolutely planned out, and I knew exactly when I was going to do stuff. And then that went into my monthly and my weekly plans, my weekly actions that I was going to do. And then what happens is when you don't feel like, or when I didn't feel like recording episodes, the plan was already there. It was already in my diary. I already knew when I was going to do it. Even this episode that I'm recording right now, I wrote at the beginning of the month that I wanted to record this episode. And this week I put in that I needed to record this episode. So what I mean by that is because I'd already planned it and it already put it in my diary made me stay committed to it. And it gave me a structure. So even though I wasn't motivated, having the structure got me back into it. So structure beats motivation any day of the week, right? It gives you that discipline that you need. So the next lesson was a lesson around recording content and how to resonate with people. So obviously I've done a lot of content over the last 2 years, but in the last 6 months, it's all been the Carnivore Entrepreneur. So the second lesson is that people buy into authenticity and flow much more than they do scripts. I've done a few things. So I've done a couple episodes scripted. So I've recorded all of my book as videos and I've used that as some of the episodes as well. And I've done stuff unscripted but bullet pointed, a bit like I've done today. I've got bullet points here, but I've not scripted it. And I've done other ones where, it's totally scripted and, I have exact words for everything. And obviously I've done interviews with people. The best engagement that I've had so far has been with the interviews and the unscripted stuff that has been bullet pointed, essentially. So I stay on track and don't waffle, but I also have a flow and a pace where I can change my tone of voice, I can slow down and speed up, and I can not be paced by a script and it sounds very, maybe monotone or the same pace or whatever that might be. Definitely when you're doing content and shows and things like that and stuff that you want to put out to the world, have a plan, have a structure, but try not to script everything that you do because it takes away from your own voice. Because what I'm trying to find is my voice that I'm comfortable with. And that might sound like a strange concept, but what I mean by trying to find your voice is trying to get everything in here expressed in the right way out here so that people who think, act like me are attracted to me and we can build a following and a community. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, is to attract people that believe what I believe. So the lesson there is interviews are great because they're unscripted anyways. We're just asking questions and that's great. And that people really resonate with that. But the other thing is don't script your content, your episodes, but have a plan. Plans are good because it stops you from waffling. So that was lesson number 2. Lesson number 3, this is a big one, is building something meaningful takes time. And that's a hard one to stomach, to persevere with, because you feel like you're getting nowhere. And I've been doing content now for over 2 years. I've had some videos that have done well, and I've had some really, really good feedback, have some people that have consistently watched me. However, it's not really kicked off yet. And I know in the back of my mind that it will at the right time, but also I'm trying to build something really big here. I'm trying to build something really, truly meaningful, and that takes time. And the analogy that I've always used, and probably overused it, is the analogy of digging for gold. So digging for gold, you just get mud constantly over and over again, and you're chipping away at this mud and all you see is mud. You don't see anything else. You're not getting anywhere. It's all the same. And you could be this far away from the gold, or you could be this far away from the gold. And it's still the same because it's just the mud. However, with every chip and every bit of mud that you go through, you get that little bit closer to the gold. And then eventually you chip through that last bit of mud and you see the gold. That's what building something meaningful is like. You've got to just believe that you're on the right path. So lesson number 3, building something meaningful takes time, and you just got to stick with it. The people that lose are the people that quit, and the people that win are the people that don't quit. So like Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can, whether you believe you can't, you're right. Because the minute you believe you can't, that's when you quit. But if you can, you keep going. And I believe that if I keep going, this will kick off. This will resonate with people that are like me. And actually we will build an amazing community that thrive in their body, their mind, and their bank account, and live life how it was supposed to be lived on their terms, or on your terms, with strength, energy, and purpose. And that's what I truly believe. It takes time. Don't worry, you'll get there, is my point. Lesson number 4 is a really, really life-changing one for me. And that lesson was writing a book will totally change you. I wrote my first book. I intend on writing another one because it was such an amazing experience. And I've actually thought about now how I can do it even better next time. But writing that book that I did, well, I was writing it a few months ago. It's now printed, available on Amazon and available to order on ebook. Give anyone the ebook free of charge. Actually, I'll put it as a download. I'll put the ebook as a download in this episode. But writing a book totally changed me because it taught me more about myself, because I was getting everything out. So my book, The Healthy Body, because I'm going to write definitely 3 books, which is body, mind, and bank account. And just going through that process, like, because you not only get your thoughts and ideas and things that you've learned out onto paper, but you're also constantly rereading them at the same time as well. So you're not only writing it down, but you're rereading it. I then was backing things up with real live examples and, you know, not just things that I believe, but using examples of my own life, using examples of other people's as well, and scientific research. And it just opened up my eyes to who I am and who I'm supposed to be. And that was probably the best thing that I've done in a very, very long time. And I know that that is what has put me on a path. And also it's holding me accountable to what I truly believe in. So doing this show, writing my book, putting things out there is holding me accountable to those things. So definitely writing a book was 100%, I'm just referring to my notes, but writing a book was 100% one of the best things I've done in the last 10 years. Even if you don't want to publish a book like I've done, or like some other people have done, just writing about your life, what you believe in, what your purpose is, just getting all your thoughts out on paper and rereading it, that will have massive value to you, even if you don't want to write a book. But if you can, get your book done. The best book you'll ever read is your own, definitely. So great. So that was number 4. Number 5. I feel like I'm saving the best ones for last here. Number 5 was growth comes from letting go, not necessarily from learning more. And yeah, I know we grow from learning and developing and lessons and mistakes and things like that. And that's one side of it, absolutely. But I've experienced huge growth this year from letting go. And there was a moment, and this is the whole reason the Carnivore Entrepreneur started. So back in October 2024, we made a decision in our main trading company, KG Short Stay, that Kay, my wife and business partner, would take over that business. So we've got a whole group of companies, investment companies, things like that. And now obviously the Carnivore Entrepreneur. But I was still heavily involved in certain areas of KG Short Stay, namely with sales and bookings and client onboarding and things like that. But we made a decision for Kay to take over. From January 2025, she fully took over. And what happened when we decided that she would take over was I didn't know what to do with myself. I had about a week of where I was sat there thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do next? Because I've got all this time back and I want to do something good with it, but I also don't want it to go to waste. So what do I do? And that is how the Carnivore Entrepreneur was born. I had a chat with AI, with ChatGPT, and talked about it and thought about it, reflected on it. And within a week, it just came to me that I wanted to bring everything that I love, which is meat, muscles, mindset, and money. I wanted to bring it all together, do something that I enjoy to help people like me live life how it was supposed to be lived. I believe that we've lost somewhere in society our primal nature, how we're supposed to be. Man, woman, eat whole foods, hunter-gatherer, that whole primal aspect. I feel like that's been lost. And I truly believe, and I'm not taking this away from anyone or anything, I truly believe that men are supposed to be men, women are supposed to be women. Approach life how you want. Things grow and develop. Men are bigger, stronger physically than women. So naturally, I feel are supposed to protect and provide. That's just my natural. That doesn't mean that women don't go out to work. That doesn't mean that women don't help and do stuff that men would typically do. But I think the man needs to be a man. We need to eat as close to the ground as we possibly can. All this processed stuff, it's not good for you. Eat real meat. Eat fruit and vegetables. Hunter-gatherer, right? Yeah. We as Homo sapiens have eaten meat for 2.6 million years. We're omnivores. We're supposed to eat meat and we're supposed to eat veg. We're supposed to eat berries. We're supposed to eat things that come from the ground. And that's what I believe. Lesson number 5 is I had to let go. I had to let go all of that stuff. And that's how the Carnivore Entrepreneur was born. The Carnivore Entrepreneur was born from letting go of something that wasn't serving me anymore. That could be for you. That could be letting go of some friends that really aren't serving you anymore. That could be letting go of a relationship that wasn't serving you anymore. I've talked about this before, but I left my marriage back in 2015. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't have become a proper entrepreneur. I wouldn't have built the business that I've got and that I'm so grateful for at the moment. So sometimes, and I've realized this, and that lesson of learning that letting go is sometimes more important than learning new things to take you to the next level. So remember that. Let go of some stuff, because that actually might be what is holding you back from that next level. Like what my mentor teaches, to be able to get to the chairman level, you know, above that CEO and be that overseer of your company or companies, right? You need to let go of being in the business, working hard, hustle, bustle, you know, and go to a more thinking level. Think Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett sits and thinks all day. He doesn't do lots of things. So sometimes you have to let go of that medal of honor of working till the cows come home. Sometimes it's letting go, not doing more or learning more. Just let go of some things that are holding you back. That's lesson number 5. Now, lesson number 6, final lesson. Success is in season. Success is in seasons, 4 seasons. And seasons can be anything, right? You could have years that are seasons. So some years you do better than others. However, what I'm talking about here is the structure of a year. Okay. Now, we've learned something fantastic over the last couple of years. We were doing it anyways, but a bit more unconsciously, right? Where certain parts of the year we'd reflect, certain parts of the year we would sell, you know, certain parts of the year we would, you know, get into the detail and fix things. But since joining our last group, so we're part of Dan Hill's Property Entrepreneur, part of the board, and we've got the privilege of being privately mentored by Dan Hill himself. And one thing that they've given us is a structure of seasons. And I've sort of defined this within the Carnivore Entrepreneur as well, because it makes total sense, which is, and you can define when you do this in the year. However, what we find is October to December is the time to reflect on it, right? Reflect on your business, reflect on what you're doing. The next 3 months is fixing it, okay, which is January to March. The next 3 months after that is testing it. So sort of April to June, you're testing all the things that you've fixed, right? And then July to September is selling it. And if you can split the year up into those sections, you always know what you're doing throughout the year, and you don't put yourself under too much pressure to be constantly selling or constantly fixing, because if you're constantly selling or constantly fixing, then something gets neglected. We can only put our true focus on one thing at a time. Now, you might be able to multitask, which is doing some things on autopilot and focusing on one thing, right? People can do things on autopilot better than others. I get that. And that's what multitasking is. However, most people can only focus on one thing at a time, and that's proper focus, right? Which is why we put one focus on each season. So you're giving something proper focus for 3 months, right? And that's how I've structured the Carnivore Entrepreneur. It's in 12-week sprints, which each one will have its own seasonal focus. So, like I said, you've got reflect on it, fix it, test it, sell it. And that's all it is. So you're going to split your year up into that. And that's what I've learned massively over the last 6 months. Started it, a couple of years ago, but that's over the last 6 months, I've realized how important it is for the Carnivore Entrepreneur. So at the moment, I'm very much in selling mode, but I've got no products to sell. But I'm ramping up the content. I'm trying to get lots of all my stuff out there. So all my tools and resources, it's all free and available to download in the links. Feel free to download them. But the point is that I'm really pushing all that stuff now, because I spent the first part of the year creating them. And it's amazing how you naturally fall into this rhythm. So what you got to remember about seasonal stuff is it's for each area. So it's not just for your business. It's for your health. That comes in seasons, so there's going to be, a time in the year where you're going to sell your fit body. And there's also going to be a time where you're fixing it, reducing the fat, and then testing it out, seeing where your strength is and measuring it. So it's for your body, it's for your mind, and it's for your bank account. They all go in seasons. So there you go. That's the 6 lessons that I've learned throughout the year. So let's just summarize them and go through them once again. So number 1 was structure beats motivation. Number 2 is don't script your content. Have a structure, but don't script it. Interviews work really well as well because they're not scripted. But yeah, number 2 is don't script, but structure your content. So you've got a plan for it. Number 3 is building something worthwhile takes time, right? So chip in for gold. Remember, you can chip against that mud and then you get the gold. Number 4 is writing your book will change your life. I guarantee it. I mean, even if you're not writing a book to publish, just write and get your thoughts down and have it for yourself or for kids or whatever. Number 5 is sometimes growth and getting to the next level means letting go of something, not learning something new. That was my favorite one, by the way, letting go. And number 6 is success comes in seasons. Reflect on it, fix it, test it, sell it. There's your seasons for the entire year. So there's my 6 lessons. Hopefully that episode has resonated with you and hopefully you've learned something from it as well, just as I have. I learned loads of stuff just by recording these episodes. So if you're listening or watching to this and thinking, I needed that today, don't worry, you're not alone. And I'm really looking forward to recording the next episodes because I'm going to listen to my lessons and not script anything moving forward on these. So it's just going to be unscripted but planned stuff and interviews with some really great people. Got some really cool interviews lined up. And the next episode is actually going to be an interview with my son, Max. So these episodes are for, men and people that want to build a legacy for their families. So I'm going to show you what my 11-year-old thinks and does in his life. So maybe that'll give you a bit of inspiration as to what you could do with your kids maybe. So really looking forward to that episode. And if you need any help or you want anything, feel free to click on the links in the show notes and get involved, subscribe to the show and stay informed because I'm going to be here every single week telling you about my journey, interviewing loads of great people, and hopefully we can build a massive community of people that want to unlock a life on their terms with strength, with energy, and with purpose. We'll see you next time. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You are a carnivore entrepreneur. Live life how it was supposed to be lived on your terms with strength, energy, and purpose. I'll see you on the next episode.